Welcome to Neuro Wednesdays again, here with Dr. Jerome D and myself, Market Stalker D. Jerome, good morning. How are you doing today?
Good morning, Dee. Good morning, everybody. How we doing? Doing amazing. The sun is back. It's Wednesday, Neuro Wednesday, our weekly session. Hope everyone is excited. How are you doing? I see a new house behind you. That is wonderful.
Yes, so it's a pretty bare office at the moment, but we're here. It's beautiful. We've got cows out the back. I've been posting stuff. I'm probably getting a bit annoying on Twitter with like my dogs and the views. It's like I've never seen a field before in my life, but it's quite funny. The cows love music. Every time we play something, they're very curious creatures. I didn't quite realize that. So just as well that I don't eat beef, so that's all working out great. Cows are friends, right? Cows are friends.
Yeah, that is wonderful.
Anyways, let's
Do they
let's
wake
get
you up in the
into.
morning?
Oh well, this is the thing. We have one cow that sort of started connecting with one of our dogs, and she was like super curious and just looking at it. And then the next morning at 6 a.m., we had the window open to our bedroom, and suddenly I hear, "Meow," and I look out, and it's the same cow because it's got
Wow,
like zebra-like markings with a black head. And I'm like, "You're back. You're black." And she's like, "Yes. Can someone come out and play?" I like her.
that
It
is
was
so
like
funny.
a friend coming to invite another friend out. It was so funny. So yeah, hopefully they won't keep doing that at 6 a.m. But I wake up at 7 anyways, especially here. So yeah, it's been beautiful, absolutely amazing experience. The house is kind of like paradise. I don't know how to explain it. This is like the Londoner in me talking. Just being close to nature, having four oak trees in the back, a lot of greenery, the field, the cows, everything is just like so chill. In London, you're always rushing. You're always like, everybody's so super stressed out, not very friendly. Over here, everybody knows everybody. We went into a shop and my husband wanted to buy something for the house. And it's like one of those DIY shops. So he goes, "Oh yeah, our neighbor, Carl, he sent us." And they're like, "Yeah, yeah, we know Carl." It's like in
Everybody
London,
knows
nobody
everybody.
knows everybody. We lived there for 20 years. Even our first door neighbors, like, okay, first door neighbors, they knew who we were, but everybody else, shop people, like you've seen the same faces, but they never say hi. It's like so unfriendly. And it's just the nature of London, there's a lot of nutters. That's perfectly all right.
That is wonderful.
Yeah,
Congratulations. Love that.
thank you. Officially a
I love
country
nature.
bumpkin.
Amazing, amazing. So welcome everybody for the new welcomers and our used audience. Hope everything went well for you for trading and in life. Hope you applied some of our advices and suggestions from last week's and other sessions. So today, what we're gonna do is first, if you have questions, please type them in the chat and Bruno. Good morning, Bruno, and Dee will relay them to us. So basically today we're gonna go through a longer practice. So it's like a mental slash meditative slash visualization practice. So if we want to resume it, it's like a mental practice, and it's a practice we use in therapy, and I use in my personal and professional practice. So I am a formerly doctor specialized in neurology, so neurodegenerative disease. So I don't do consultations yet. I did private consultations, and I do private coaching. And this is part of a training I recently got, which is complementary therapies, integrative approach to healthcare. So how do we add complementary therapies and practices to traditional therapies to help patients and healthcare professionals as well to deal with the different pathologies people have. So I basically specialize in mental health, and I've been a trader for almost 2 years now. And with Topstep, I started with Topstep, and I'm now a live-funded trader. And I found all the knowledge and practices and tools I've learned and developed, and I'm still developing and building through time, helped me a lot tremendously through my trading journey, and it's is still helping. And so with Coach Deeyana, she gladly invited me to try this Wednesday Neuro Wednesday session, and so we ended doing these practices. So today, for the people who were here last week, you already know that, but for the people who don't, today we're gonna go through a long practice. So I don't know exactly how long it's gonna last, likely between 30 and 45 minutes. So we asked last week what people would like, so that's what we ended with. So um, this practice might help, might not help you. This practice might fit, might not fit you. If this is not a practice you would like to do today, please respect the people who would like to practice this exercise and this tool today, and just respect their time and our time as well for doing the practice, and go with the practice as well. So we're gonna go through the slides first, and then for the practice, I'm gonna drive you all, and once it's over, I'm gonna invite you to come back. So we'll just stay into the practice. So basically, if you have other questions concerning the practice, please ask them, and we'll be glad to answer to it. So, do you have any question, Coach Deeyana, before we start?
I'm just excited to see what sort of practice you have for us. I really enjoy the introspective work, as always. I've always done it in some shape or form, whether I was a musician, whether I was transitioning careers, whether I was in a position of leadership, which kind of comes more naturally to me, but is always uncomfortable, especially if you have to like tell people off and stuff. And just doing work on yourself, how you can sort out some little gremlins that you have inside of you before you can be a better version of yourself. So I'm very excited. Let's go.
Preach. Thank you. So, basically, the first point is inner architecture. So, every point we'll go through or points we've been through before, and they're going to be used and stimulated and enabled during the practice. So, our body is anatomy, right? Our brain is neurons, connections, synapses, neural network. And so, like, there's an inner architecture, anatomy, but there's another one in here, in your mind, in your brain. So, the world we have inside of us is not just linked to emotion or imagination, it's really neural activation. You know, the brain doesn't make the difference between fiction and reality. So when you recall a memory, you don't replay it, you refire it, you re enable it. And if you do that while in a calm, anchored state, your brain can recode the weight, the emotional weight attached to this memory. And that's what we called last week this window and this process, which is called memory reconsolidation with the reconsolidation window. And this is the foundation of real inner change. And that's what we use in therapy. And so visualizing calm while revisiting like old, reminiscing old emotional patterns, that rewires the way those patterns live in your body. Okay. And that is not imagination, that is neuroplasticity in motion. And so what happens inside of you is not symbolic, it's physiological, whatever happens. And so my point today is to share with you years of knowledge, of practice I learned at university and as my young and modest and humble practice as a professional. So you can use it and absorb it for health as well, not only for trading. So there is a concept we call emotional emotional echoes, okay? And these emotional structures, they don't mean you're broken, okay? They define as unprocessed emotions. They don't disappear, they stay in the body, and they wait to be treated, to be resolved, to be dealt with. So you have a system that makes a loop, and it's not because we are weak, it's because we're trying to complete something. We want to complete some loop, but not the loop that is being wired. And so the practice we're going to make today will help your nervous system the conditions to finish what it couldn't. Like you've always started the move. I'm not going to help you to start the move. I'm going to help you to stay in the path, because at some point when we start something, we get deviated from the path. And so I put some feelings, but almost all feelings they repeat, not because they are wrong, but because they never finished. It's like having a cup, a jar. and things get deeper, 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 and when they hit the bottom of the jar, we are like, oh, it's at the bottom, yeah. And you think it's forgotten, but no, it will make more damage than when you can imagine. And you can apply
Interesting.
this in life and in trading as well. It's exactly the same. Yeah, please, Coach Diana, if you want to interrupt, as always,
Yeah,
do so.
just listening. Yeah.
So we always mention calm and presence. Okay, anxiety is being worried about the future. Depression is being worried about the past. Be present. Be in the present moment. So you can't talk your way into regulation. No, I'm gonna be positive. People always mess up and make wrong conclusions between positive attitude and positive mental attitude. And you can't talk your way for that. The body doesn't respond to logic. It responds to breath, to attitude, to posture, to stillness, to rhythm, to pattern, to safety, to other negative things as well. But it builds patterns through these. And so today we will use the first doorway we identified together, which is awareness, attention, awareness, as the language of the nervous system, and not words, attention and awareness. You have to understand that attention and awareness are defined in like the scientific world, and I mean in the world, as mental skills. Like jumping is a physical skill, like shooting an arrow or swimming is a physical skill. Attention and awareness are mental skills. So train these skills, develop them, observe them. Feeling safe is a gateway. Okay, feeling safe is a real thing. Okay, and you can't evolve while your system feels under threat. Okay, if you've been with us, or if you've not, but you know this perhaps, or as a reminder, our brain is survival. It's more animal, right? It's made for fight or flight, instant reaction. So basically, we react under stress, under fear. And if the body feels unsafe, no insight will stick. It will go from the left to the right, from the top to the bottom, and whoop, out. So this isn't softness. People misidentify discipline as pain or feeling safe as weakness or softness. It's biology. And today we create a felt sense, something you will be able to really experience, I hope, and I believe, of safety. So your system can access, this is the gateway, really. It's how you access to clarity, curiosity, and change, the three magic C's. Okay. And insight without safety will not land. It will just bounce off. Okay. It will have a different motion than the one you need. You want it
Is
to
this
bat to.
why? So I have a question. Is this why? Because I know that when you're under fear or when you feel unsafe, your brain cannot really learn new things because you're constantly in some sort of either anxiety or depression and then you never progress. Is that why? Because you really need to feel safe in order for neuroplasticity to actually take over.
Correct. Thank you. We feel unsafe and we don't know how to process it, right? When you have panic attacks, what do? If you keep reproducing it, you need therapy. I mean, needing therapy is not pejorative. I mean, you need somebody to help you with something you don't know how to solve, how to deal with. And so somebody else does. And so you meet with this individual and it helps you. Perhaps it's a therapist, perhaps it's a friend, perhaps it's a video, perhaps it's a training, whatever, perhaps it's a book. And we don't know what we don't know. And that's why
I've never
we're
had a
here.
panic attack, but I know that a lot of people who have been in trading, they spend sometimes 15, 20 years not really progressing. And I'm like, what is this? Why? Like, surely if you've been doing something for 15 years staring at the charts, you should learn something. And then I dug a little bit deeper into it. Obviously, you're the expert, but I was curious. So I went to see why. And it came back to exactly this issue that when you're in a constant state of fear and anxiety, your brain simply does not take in new information. So everybody who's trading with size, for example, we have Hardeep here. I've seen him before in here. He's talking about he was in a trade today, but he was green and didn't close the trade, kept moving up and down, went red, then green again. So it was basically sitting around his break-even point. Saw it in profit 3 times, and then minus 1100 came down to breakdown. So, for example, I what I'm reading into this hard heap is that you're trading with too much size relative to your current skill set. And what you're doing is putting yourself in a state of anxiety that means that your brain is not neuroplastic right now. So it's not taking in any information. That's why it's important to size down 1 micro and gather data. Remove the emotional component from it and see what data is actually telling you. Then we're going to come back to the emotional side. But you cannot keep going from 0 to hero and, trading with size, expecting that everything's going to happen. It won't because of this. So listen to what Jerome is saying. This is very, very important for everybody to understand that neuroplasticity and anxiety, fear, doubt, it's not happening. You're not learning. Your skills are not progressing. Okay, that's my rant.
Yeah, thank you very much. This will indeed help you on two major points in trading. The first one is not reproducing the damaging patterns that you are holding to first. The second is to evolve. Okay, I'm not telling you not to be in stagnation, but at some point you need to evolve. Okay, and evolving is a very tough mental and physical process outside of trading and inside of trading. Most of the time I try to scale up, I ended falling off, and because I was using the wrong process, and I identified what I was doing wrong. So indeed, having all this awareness, being able to differ, to process our reactions differently, will definitely help to rewire the patterns of what happens, because what happens happened. Can you change what happened, Hardeep? No. But you are identifying, you are aware about your over positioning, about not protecting the trade, all these things. So we always come to the things, and Coach Deeyana mentioned it. Was it your plan? Probably not. So learn from the mistake. You got to learn that, okay, yeah, you oversized, and you probably, or not, that is depending on your strategy, mismanaged the trade. But the main problem here is oversizing. You cannot put this size, or if you put this size, assume the consequence if you don't protect the trade. You know what we mean? So don't be hard on yourself, don't sabotage yourself. What happened happened. You can't change what happened, but you can change what you react from what happened, how you react from it. You can change how you perceive from it. Do you want to sabotage yourself and be in depression mode? You're right, I shouldn't have oversized. Do you think that is what we want you to think? No. We want you to just acknowledge and recognize that, and move on. Trade for tomorrow, move on to the next trade, the next session, the next challenge, and you will
But
evolve.
size
But
down.
learn. Yeah, exact. Size down as well, and learn
Yeah,
from your mistake. If you keep repeating the mistakes and you identified the patterns, the mistakes, then I mean, you need nothing else rather than discipline. You need to follow yourself. Nobody can follow yourself more than you. We can't be at your home and hold your arm and not, you know what I
yeah,
mean.
hold your
So
hand. Yeah.
exactly. But yeah, so when the body feels safe, resistance becomes optional. Okay, and so sorry, there's I will correct it. So I think it's written when, like, there's nothing broken in you, only parts. Yeah, only parts waiting to be met. So at the top it's written, there's nothing broken in you, only parts waiting to be met. And we teach people, you don't fix yourself. You don't need fixing. You need to re-inhabit yourself, to rediscover or discover, for some people, yourself. Change it is not about becoming someone else. And remember, human brain hates change, and it will makes you feel discomfort whatever you want to change. It's more about change is more about returning to what's always been whole inside you, just deep inside. So This space, the space we will access today, allows you to reclaim presence. Remember, calm presence, not perform improvement. Forget about performance. Most of the time we follow and chase performance. No, reclaim presence. Okay? So what you reclaim becomes usable energy. Energy. And healing is not changing, healing is including. Okay? And I'm speaking to you, you there that is listening to us and that finds a meaning in what we are saying here. I'm speaking to you. Healing is not changing, it's including. And today we'll work on this inclusion. And so your system, through the practice and without the practice, is ready now. You don't need to, it will never be the right moment. People often speak about timing. There is so little many so few moments where timing makes sense, but most of the time there is no wrong or right timing. You can trust this. What arises today is arising because you are strong enough to meet it now. What happens today in your life happens because you are strong or weak enough to meet it now. And you are not late. You are right on time for your nervous system. Your nervous system is your understanding and practice of the world, right? So we are always ready for the now. So
Did we lose Jerome? Oopsie, oopsie. Oh, is this him?
hear me, guys? One, two.
Yes, we
Okay.
lost you there for a
Oh
second.
yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry, I think my internet got reconnected. My apologies. So um if it wasn't ready before, that's okay. You're ready now. It's here now. So your body knows that. And when you understand the concept of now, now is safe, now is open. You are meeting yourself with the exact frequency, the exact bandwidth that is available and that is accessible for you now. So inner work is real work. It's like sport, it's like physical practice. Physical practice is external work. It's not because you don't see it with your eyes that it's not real. And this kind of work is not visible, but it's foundational, right? Ask any professional athlete, and not even professional or musician again, do we practice mental visualization or mental practices, tools, exercises on top of their external practice? Yes, of course, 100%, because it changes how you feel, how you see things, how you choose, how you act, how you recover as well. And in trading and outside of trading, the deepest edges you will ever face are the ones inside. How to not be greedy after a win, how to not FOMO after a loss, how to not revenge trade, how to not oversize, etc. So the more presence you bring today, the more transformation becomes inevitable. So what shift, shifts internally shapes every external outcome. Okay, and this work rewires how you act. Remember, our body is made of cells, DNA, right? Genetic information. So this is all nanomolecular or femto scaled entities that makes my hands visible with human eyes, right? That the work we do from within rewires how we act, not just how we feel. And emotional regulation is performance enhancement. Do you think NASA astronauts, surgeons, lawyers, coaches, like any individual, but I'm taking on purpose high performance like activities, do you think they don't experience stress? They don't experience anxiety? They don't experience pressure? Of course they do. They are humans. They aren't robots, but they learned and they trained powerfully how to regulate that. So they can be like masters of emotional regulations. And so real growth is often invisible until the byproduct of the process becomes undeniable. So, for example, in entrepreneurship or trading, if you follow the process, money will come. My mentors in entrepreneurship always taught me, put money at the bottom of your wish list, goals list, whatever it is. Everything you achieve above will lead you to this. But if you put money at the top, you will not only not achieve money, but you will not achieve anything below it as well. And it's a
That's very true
byproduct
in
of,
trading.
yeah, exactly.
It's very, very true in trading because people who come into trading with nothing more but the desire to make cash, I can guarantee you that those won't be the people who get there quickly. It's a weird thing because the more you focus just on the monetary side, the more your self-limiting beliefs about money keep coming up. But then if you find another purpose, if you look at it as an intellectual challenge, I look at it as a detective. To me, like again, process is a big thing for me. But even when when I'm losing a trade, I don't see it as, oh my God, I lost, $200-300. I look at it as, what does this do for my long-term risk model? How does that trade fit into that? And it sort of gets that trade out of your mind as some scary monster thing. It's just data. It's just another data set, data piece that we can slot into a much, much bigger picture. And to me, that's very calming. It's very comforting. But again, I'm a nerd, so it might not be the same thing for everybody. However, that is something that's really helped me to unglue from that P&L chase. And I did work for a prop company that was pushing size. It did get scary, but you had to adapt, right? You had to just go, well, how can I survive this? Because this is very difficult. Every month they're bumping your size up and aggressively pushing size. So what I did is to remove all references of P&L from everything that I did. So the only thing that I was looking at were ticks and maybe some commissions on one side, but it was just ticks, levels, stop loss size, and it's amazing how transferable that can be to any account size. So whether you're trading one micro or 120 gold contracts, the trade pretty much looks the same, bar some execution issues that you might have at that point. But for the most part, a tick is a tick. Whatever kind of money is happening underneath, it doesn't matter. A tick remains the same.
Beauty of math, right?
Yeah.
Wonderful. Yeah, relationship with money is very important in trading. We mentioned it a lot. Another great example is if you have a loss today or someday, and if the next day you are focused on the money you lost the previous day, your intention is gonna direct it towards making back the loss, plus potentially making back the win you didn't have. Like the brain is tricky. So that's when you start to get in the trap, because you detach yourself from the process, and then you get trapped into the money vicious cycle rather than following the process, having the short, mid, long-term vision, and following your path rather than focusing on one single event. Let's say you're an athlete and you have several match like games throughout the competition. Do you think losing one or two games will make you lose the competition? No. So you
It's
will move
part of
on,
it.
right?
Yeah.
It's the same thing. Jab, jab,
Yeah.
jab. So whoever you are, uh, as a trader, and as a human being, you are not broken. You are patterned, and your reactions are not flows. They are survival strategies. Remember, or as a reminder, if you don't, um, we we have difficulties. We can almost never control the first impulse, but we can and have the choice to train the second one. So your strategies, they made sense once because this is the automatic response system of the body, but they may not anymore. Perhaps they didn't serve you well. Today, you get to offer your system a new pattern through breath, stillness, and clarity. And if this will or doesn't yet make sense to you, it's okay. I respect and thank you for being here. But if it starts to make sense, the practice will be incredibly rewarding for you. And your system, your inner system, created patterns to protect, not sabotage you. But the brain hates change and discomfort, remember. So patterns can evolve when met with new experience. Okay? The brain likes to make you feel an experience is like a previous one, but you have to understand if experience is a new one or really a past like one. So what was useful before might be unneeded now, right? So today we'll go through this as well. And through the practice, you may encounter some things. My advice is to let them come, let them move through. No judgment, only space. You may encounter old echoes, okay, sensations from unfinished events, uh, carried memories, emotions. You can have frozen moments, like some tension you didn't know you carried or you identified and you don't know how to get rid of from. You can have surprising neutrality, even though neutrality is the new alpha, or softness. You can have a vision of your future self as well, calm, steady, unshaken. Um, or you can have as well like lightness, a sensation of lightness, perhaps grief, or even silence, or other things. Emotional signals are messengers. Understand that. They are not mistakes, they are not weaknesses. You don't have to understand why or what is happening. You only have to stay present. Okay, there is anxiety. Oh, there is happiness. Oh, there is grief, perhaps. Okay, I'm just here, you know? And so understand that. Let the system complete. We speak about a system today. Let the system complete. When we stop interrupting our emotions, the body completes the loop. Okay? There's nothing to solve. Remember, there's nothing to solve, only something to stay with. This is part of acceptation process as well. Completion happens through what we call non-interference. Okay? Windows in which you can practice with non-interference. So allowing sensation to finish is what rewires the pattern. Okay? When you finish a physical practice and you walk, for example, I used to to practice football, soccer in the US, but football in Europe. And so after a game or a training, we used to walk like half an hour, 40 minutes. So we can remove from the body the lactic acid and not have muscular cramps or things like that in the following days. And so it's not about controlling, it's about continuity, understanding the process. Healing doesn't need your analysis and it doesn't care about it. It needs your permission. It
So I
needs
have a
your
question.
permission. Yes,
So I have a
please.
question. So trading generally carries a lot of negative emotions for a lot of newer traders. They are constantly stressed out, they are worried, they're anxious, sometimes even depressed. So both worrying about the future and the past. And there's a lot of men in trading. Now, society, maybe less so, but society when I was growing up was teaching boys to hide their emotions. What does that do to somebody who's trying to be a trader and they are continuously sort of pushing emotions down that they're feeling during the trading? And in particular, let's say they lose a trade, they feel like crying, but they're a man and you shouldn't cry, and that they kind of just push it down. Should we just like allow that to happen? Should we like just go into the room, hug ourselves in the corner, and let it all out? Is that what I'm getting from here? Going to the
Uh,
complete
yes,
extreme.
thank you for this example. For me, this leads to ego, what we call the egotic complex. So
Mhm.
basically, for your precise example, there's a huge core need of proof, right? Of performance, of proving something. So whether
Mhm.
you see other people overperforming compared to you, comparison is the thief of joy, of course. Or if you feel you've never felt enough for people or done enough, then whatever you win will not be enough. You will always overtrade. You will always try to make it back. You will always chase a move. There are patterns you will always repeat based on your identity. So have you ever noticed when you are sick or when you had a fight with your partner or relative, family member, friend, boss, work coworker, things like that, when something off happened in your life and you told yourself, I'm not gonna go in front of the charts, I'm not gonna trade today, and what did you do? You did trade, and what did happen? You lost, right? And what did you tell you afterwards? You hit your head, you perhaps hit your head on the table or the wall or whatever you do, and you say, I knew it, I told myself why. And you ruminate, you wander. This is called mind wandering and rumination, negative rumination. So this is lost, like the battle is lost, the war is not lost, but this battle is lost. But you have this battle every day. If you lose it every day, you will never win, right? And so you will just build upon an identity that is getting built upon emotion and not logic, right? Uh, you process an event through what it makes you feel. But what do you know about what it makes you feel? Do you absorb it? Do you experience it as a victim, meaning you don't try to be objective from it? You just react to it, or are you objective from it? Do you practice meta observing, meta awareness, meta switching? Can you observe the observer? Can you observe the reaction you didn't do from the one before? Can you be your future self? And that is when you start to make the difference, the shift. Um,
Yeah, so let's touch upon that victim mentality a little bit because I see that a lot. I've seen it through my personal coaching so many times. People are like, "Oh, yes, I've lost a trade." Of course, that always happens to me, and I was like, "What are you talking about?" It's like, and then a whole bunch of stuff comes up because I'm not into, I'm not a therapist, but as a part of personal coaching, I inevitably come across people's issues, right? And they are talking to me, we're communicating, and then all of this stuff stems from one comment. Well, of course, this wasn't going to work when I'm trying to get into trade. And I'm like, it has nothing to do with you. Nothing to do with you. The market doesn't know you exist. It's just a hypothesis in the sea of probabilities. And you cannot base your feelings on one piece of sample size. Like how many trades in sample size? One. It's like, yeah, that's not gonna do. But the amount of victimhood that I see, and people are like, nothing ever works out for me, or I'm a little slow, or this always happens to me. We need to move away from that as traders because it's not going to serve anyone any for any purpose, right? You cannot be a victim and you cannot be a great trader. I firmly believe that. And here's why, because every trader that gets to a certain point, we've all been through hell and back, every single one of us, right? It's almost like a rite of passage. But throughout that whole journey, we were the ones who carried the belief that it's possible, that we will do everything needed in order to get to where we want to be, and we decided that we're going to do this and create our own reality. That's probably the most powerful thing you can have inside yourself. Not be a victim and not go, oh, this always happens to me. Just go, okay, universe, challenge accepted. That's how I look at things. And this is what leads people to think that I am somebody who goes head through the wall, somebody who takes no defeat, and then, somebody who knows me very well, like my mom, she's always like, I'm a little bit worried. You kind of have this idea that you're gonna, create this. And this was when I was younger, obviously. She was very worried when I declared that I was gonna go and live in London by myself. And she said, you're gonna be pretty much alone. How is that gonna work? And I was like, yeah, don't you worry about that. I've got it. And she's like, yeah, I know, but it's difficult. And I said, everything in life is difficult. So I was like 20, 21 years old at that point, so very young, but I still had that zero victimhood. We do this. This is our reality. This is our life, and we will get there. So I would urge everybody to try and shifting the victim side of them into something more powerful. So, what are your thoughts on how we can shift from that mindset of it always happens to me to we create our own reality? Is there anything that we can do to make that process easier?
Thank you again for this great example. Two things come up to my mind. I mean, many things, but two main things. So first, there's a so I'm gonna have a neuropsychology psychology psychoanalysis sort of approach here. There's a community effect to that. So simple question: between people who are successful and people who are not in the world, which group is the bigger one?
Well, it's the ones who are not successful.
Correct. So
Yeah.
the bigger group, the mass, let's call it the mass, it's the group that is not successful. This analogy is not valid in any setup, yet in trading it is. There is more, like the group of unprofitable traders is way more bigger than the one of profitable traders. So the community effect of bigger group versus smaller group is it's always more convenient to be part of the bigger group. That's a community psychological effect. Also, there's another strong component is we mentioned it previously multiple times. Human being likes to be critics. We like to be critics because we are part of something that people share with us. So this is connected strongly with the second element that come up to my mind, which is a brain one. And we mentioned it last week in depth, which is the brain loves to find patterns. The brain loves to find structures, meaningful patterns, meaningful structures. So whatever happened on the chart, we will find meaning to. Whatever happens in our life, we will find meaning to. Are we right? Are we wrong? Do we care? Do we don't? We don't or you don't, whether you pay attention or not. But the thing is, you are going through this. So basically, when we lose, we find reasons why we lost, because there are reasons. The thing is, do you identify the right reasons, or do you identify reasons that suit your mental? It's the difference between what you need to hear and what you want to hear. It's exactly the same. But the thing is, what you need to see versus what you want to see. But nobody's telling you that. You tell yourself that. And being in the group of, oh yeah, the market ticked me out and ran up to my profits target, and yeah, I got unlucky. I mean, it happened to me many times, of course. But do you think I rewire this in my mind? No, not anymore. I understand my entry was bad and or my stop. I identified
Yeah,
the right
stop loss
reasons.
placement. Yeah, stop loss
Exactly.
placement. You can't blame the market for ticking you out. It means your stop loss was at an obvious place or at a nonsense place that it didn't make sense for a stop run, market structure, a whole bunch of things. But we cannot be going, oh, I got top ticked. Yeah, the market is out to get me. Nobody's out to get you. They don't know you exist. Get better.
Exactly.
you know?
Exactly. But some people, they are addicted to be critics. So you
Yeah.
asked how people could help that or whatnot. Some people, they won't want even to help that. Some people, they love to be critics because they they believe their self-image is so reduced or low that they believe they are not worthy enough to be successful. So they are part of the unsuccessful groups or unsuccessful groups. So basically, in this unsuccessful group, you have two layers of people. The first one is the people who will thrive to switch from unsuccessful to successful group, and the people who will stick and stay miserable and critics within the group. And they will identify as the failure they experienced. They will say, I am a failure, not I failed, you know? And the first group will say, I failed, yet I am working onto learning, improving, and growing, and I will fail until I don't anymore. And so this is a mental process. So again, healing doesn't need your analysis; it needs your permission. If you want to stay a critic, then stay it. I mean, it's okay. We need them as well, actually. So
We do
basically,
need constructive criticism,
yeah,
yes, but
exactly,
what we do to ourselves, that's not constructive criticism. That's just like ripping yourself to shreds when you do even the smallest mistake. That's not very
exactly,
good, right? Because that leads to
completely,
you feeling bad about yourself and arguably feeding into the victim mentality again. So, we have to stay away from that.
exactly. Thank you. It's like compulsive behaviors, exactly. So
Yes.
you are practicing with us a new default, a new self, right? So every minute you choose presence over reaction, you are rewriting identity. And remember, repetition carves your nervous system's baseline, and in this case, in this instance, new baseline. So what you rehearse becomes who you are under pressure. Resilience. This is resilience, right? What you rehearse becomes who you are under pressure. And calm will become or becomes automatic when it's practiced in safety. You can't be calm in anxiety, right? You can only be calm in safety, right? In presence. You can't be calm in depression. You're stuck to the past. In anxiety, you're stuck to the future. You have to be safe in the present moment. So, what happens after the practice we'll do today? You may feel clear, you may feel heavy, grounded, tired, emotional, numb, anything else perhaps, or nothing. I mean, if you feel nothing, then call 911. Just kidding. All are signs your system is integrating, right? So don't rush it. Don't rush anything. It just means integration. So post regulation, the body recalibrates its emotional map, right? When you temper down, the body readjusts its settings, its parameters based on what happened, not instantly after the event. It's like hitting the gym. You don't build your muscle at the gym, you break it. You build it during recovery. That's how you grow the
Yeah.
muscles.
Mhm.
And so the brain is exactly the same. It's exactly the same. And sensitivity afterward is not weakness, it's openness. So all or valid, all or normal. Don't judge them. Don't like try to be in uh, uh, subjectivity in it. Don't try to make meaning from it. Let the work land. Don't let it bounce. Don't rush to label or fix it.
Jerome, we have somebody in chat saying, Scott is saying, I'm so mean to myself. I feel like a loser and incompetent, but I know it isn't true. And here's the dichotomy in his statement. Until I conquer that demon, I don't deserve profits. So I found it very interesting that first Scott, you're saying, I feel like a loser and incompetent. And then you go, until I conquer that, I don't deserve that. You do deserve it. Like whether you have a demon, as you call it, or not, you deserve everything good in life. Everybody does. Okay. So to me, this is like a standard self-limiting belief that is just trickling through every single sentence that the person is saying. How can we help Scott to be less mean to himself and to stop making statements like these?
Thank you, Scott. So there's the first door that is opened, which is attention and awareness. What I identify here is lack of self-confidence, self-trust. Please correct me, Scott, if we are wrong here. So this would be the core reason which leads to other consequences or elements that weaken the foundation you need to believe that indeed you deserve profits. Why don't you deserve profit? Who said that?
Yeah.
What
Who
happened in
said
your
that to you?
life?
Who hurt you? Who
Yeah,
hurt you,
exactly.
Scott?
Give me the address. I'm coming. Well,
Yeah,
you know,
yeah.
I
Yeah,
mean,
me and Jerome are gonna go and smash them up.
here we
You hold
go.
them, Jerome, I'll hit them.
I mean, the practice, I believe and hope it will help you today, but I don't want you to type it in the chat, but something happened in your past
Hmm.
that outside of trading, and I'm not here to say, oh, he's saying something happened in your past and it's related to your trading and blah, blah, blah. No, it's real. I mean,
It's
you
usually
said,
how it is. It's
yeah,
something when we're very young, something happened to you, and it stays with you. Like you said at the beginning of the stream, if you put things in a jar, you think they're like at the bottom of the jar, so it's like, oh, we can't see that, but they stay there. So Scott, I would really go back into your life, do a deep dive to see why is it that you feel this way.
yes and no. Why? Because some people don't know how to do that. And for some
No,
people, when they try to dip back, panic attack instantly, PTSD.
really?
So
Oh,
this is a right
trauma. Yeah.
suggestion, but not applicable to everybody. So that's why I allow myself to just make this comment. But Scott, you feel like a loser and incompetent. So you identify yourself as this. And this is exactly what we are vouching for. What happens is not what you identify to. Identifying is a choice, it's not a definition. You are not defined by it. You say, I don't deserve profits. This is your definition. This is not anyone else's definition. So uh, go through the practice today, and uh, and I really hope it will and believe it will help you. And yeah, just watching the answer. My brothers and sister all have issues and PTSD from our parents being violent and drugged out. I am sorry. Uh, and I thank you for your trust and transparency. So yeah, again, I don't necessarily want you to disclose any personal or deep things. And I see other people are sharing, so this is going into a therapy session. Thank you guys. No, this is a
It's
pleasure for us.
beautiful.
But
Yeah,
yeah,
it's
I mean,
beautiful. We need
I'm
this.
I'm a
Yeah.
therapist, so I'm very open to do this. It's my pleasure. Uh, I we can help you to process these things that happened. Do you think I had a bright and beautiful life? Thanks God I did. But because I am breathing, that's why I am grateful for. But do you think my life was easy? You can trust me, it was not. You can trust me. My parents had a very hard life, very hard. Um, my life may not be the one you imagined. Um, and thanks God and the universe, I was strong enough and disciplined enough to stick to school, and I have now a decent a career. But don't watch me as who I am today. And trust me, I've been through a lot. I am still going through a lot. And whatever we teach and share with you, I applied, and I'm still applying these to me. And be connected to God if you don't have God to life. Be connected to yourself. And these things today are to help us, you, to get more connected to you, to what is already inside of you. We have a manual for heart. We have a manual for kidney. We have a manual for gym. We have a manual for everything. Yet we don't have a proper manual for brain. I'm not saying I'm giving you a manual. I'm giving you a sort of summary of all the teachings and all the teachers I encountered with all the new technologies that helped discovered new meanings and knowledge into neuroscience. So yeah, thank you guys for sharing this. But yeah, again, when you are sick or when something bad happened in your life, you can feel the difference in the execution and decision making process in front of the charts. So when you identify patterns, behaviors, toxic patterns, toxic behaviors you have in your life and or in your trading, you identify them. Okay, you don't necessarily know how to process them or help them, but that is exactly why we are doing Neuro Wednesdays. If you take the first session and you watch thoroughly every single session, you will understand the course we are building. It's like a puzzle. Every piece is meaningful, yet all of them combined makes the whole one. Otherwise, you will have draft pieces, right, which will help you, but you will have a whole different foundation with all the pieces. So again, if we wanted to share all the pieces back, we'll have to do a 24/7 strip. So it's not that we don't want; it's that it's
New
practically
channel.
hard. Exactly.
Yeah.
So yeah, hope this helped.
All right, let's see some of the other uh, comments. So Trading Nichols said, I literally call my therapist because of stuff which may have surfaced from my life, not trading, but stuff in my life affecting trading. She was quick. She was like, it wasn't trading losses. I had the same experience actually, because I went to a therapist for an entirely different thing. So basically, I went in there, and the therapist was like, "Oh, hold on. So you have a problem with your voice? Because I have this thing called laryngeal dystonia every so often, and it's like a brain disease where it affects your voice by your vocal cords will not relax. It's when you're going through a lot of stuff. And it came up that it was from the time that Belgrade was bombed by NATO in 1999, which I lived through. So my life was actually pretty, when you look at the family and everything, it was probably easier than most. But then we had the wars in Yugoslavia. And I think that's something that I look at as a positive experience, but it obviously added to some kind of underlying anxiety that then showed up as tension and fatigue in my voice. Totally it's like it's a weird thing. So I also got very interested in how the brain works because of that, to learn how to relax. And it's not fully healed because there's no real cure. It's basically your brain rewiring itself in a slightly wrong way. But I can still control it a lot better. And it was interesting to me that something completely unrelated to to the voice that happened like 20, 25, 30 years ago. I was like, huh, that's very interesting. That stayed with me. And I didn't think so, no, on a completely conscious level. I I think it was actually a good experience of me facing my own mortality that early on in life, and not and surviving it first and foremost, and coming out the other end where I'm like, I'm a stronger person for this. So I pushed down probably quite a lot of the emotions that we were feeling whilst the war was happening. And then when the war was over, it all just came back up and decided to show up as a completely unrelated tension in the body. So take that as you will, but we're all a product of our life experiences. However, that doesn't have to define you.
Thank you. Exactly. Love when you share insights like this because you put out the problem and the solution and you're applying it. So yeah, it's beautiful. I'm so happy to
Thank you.
have you.
I'm
So
happy to have you. This is absolutely mind blowing.
thank you. We've not started practice yet. Wait for it.
Yeah.
So I hope it will be as powerful as I'm selling it. So uh, I have a sort of prompt for after practice. So if you're gonna go through the whole practice today or another day, I advise you to journal these 4 points. First, what part of me felt seen today? No right or wrong answer for any of these 4 points. Just put what's coming. Okay. Second, what did I allow instead of resist? Okay. Third point, sorry. What do I want to bring back with me? Whatever it is, whether it is something inside, a mental, whatever it is you want to bring back with you, like put it there. And what does my nervous system want me to remember? If you are able to journal these 4 points after practice and you practice it for a lot of times, then you will notice the things that you journal differ from one practice to another. Perhaps not exactly from one to another, but you got the point. And analyzing your journal, like a trading journal, will make you identify potential patterns or potential change, things that you wouldn't be necessarily able to identify directly the same way. This is very powerful. So please do it for you. So Barry the Brain thanks you. So before going into the practice, do you guys have any questions or any points you would like to clarify? And if not, or if yes, after these, we'll go through the practice.
Well, we have a lot of people pouring their souls out. That's very beautiful to see. And
Let's wait 1 or 2 minutes, and
yeah, yeah,
if you
let's give
guys
them a
are
couple
ready.
minutes if you have any questions. Trader Yamel says to Trader Nichols, cry, bro, let it out. Don't hold it in. That's very true.
Exactly. But it's not
Scott
as easy
says,
for everybody.
yeah, Scott says, I feel like a nutter talking about it on a trading podcast, but here we are. So here's the thing, mindset and understanding how your brain works is a part of your strategy, or should be. If it isn't, it needs to be become that. It's gone are the days when we had the pits and it was all about shouting and fighting and jumping up and being crazy. Now it's just us, our computers, and our emotions. We're completely alone. So whatever you have up there in your head, it's gonna come out and hit you across the face in the worst way possible. So the more unresolved issues that each of us have, the more difficult it's going to be to do it all by yourself. This is why we're doing Neuro Wednesdays, because a lot of people are struggling with similar things. Not many people have perfect childhoods where they have no trauma. The world is a tough place. And, in my opinion, some people shouldn't have children, but here we are. And it happens. That's just how things are. But those children grow up to have a lot of hang-ups from the mistakes that their parents have. And I want to point out that the mistakes that your parents did in life and how they treated you, that's not your responsibility. That was their responsibility. So they were the ones who failed, not you. And also, if you're one of those people who like to collect people around you who are seemingly not doing as well, uh, that's not a good thing for you. You are also not responsible for other people, but you are responsible for yourself. So get rid of the noise and try to do these practices as much as possible, because it will push your mindset forward to a better place that will allow you to have an identity shift, and that will ultimately lead to you being able to reach your goals. So setting a first goal for yourself, it's not to reach a goal, it's so that you have enough of an identity shift so that in the future you will be able to reach the goal. But it is the first step, so I wanted to add that. All right, let's
Thank
see if
you.
there are any questions and then head into the practice. I think we're good to go with the practice. I think people are just, enjoying.
Let's go.
Uh, oh,
And
okay, hold on. We have one question. Testino
yeah,
says, "Sorry, I came in late. What does felt seen mean in this context?"
which one? What part of me felt seen? Sorry. Thank you for the question. So you will see, this is the after practice. So because you didn't have the practice yet, of course, this doesn't make sense. But you will see during the practice, uh, you will be invited um, to to pass through or pass by different part of your past or present or future. And so these are parts that are seen, that felt seen, but you only feel that. So you will see through the practice, but that is a question that after the practice, once you reflect on that, you will be able to identify what resonates with what you need, right? This is directly connected with what you need.
Would it be good if people write that in a journal for themselves? Would that be something you advise?
That is what we advise, actually.
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, uh, uh, I totally
So instead
advise
of keeping
people
it up
to.
here, so
Ah,
instead
no,
of
no, no.
keeping
I
it up here,
advise
it's like
people
what
to
part
take
of it?
a paper
Yeah.
and take a pen or a journal and a pen, and you write these 4 questions. And after the practice, uh, or after the segment, you try to instantly reflect and answer these
And you
questions.
even say it. Yeah. Sorry, I wasn't looking at the screen. Out of this
No, of
journal
course.
prompts. You actually wrote it. Yeah. Okay. All right, let's go into the practice. Should we lay
So
down or sit for the practice? Danny G wants to know.
whatever feels comfortable for you.
Okay.
So, and thank you for asking. So basically, yeah, sit on a chair, on the floor, on a mat, on a cushion, on a combination, whatever feels comfortable for you. Uh, Close your eyes. I mean, if you don't feel comfortable closing your eyes, don't. But I advise still closing your eyes and let them close you. Just close your eyes. Let them close you, not like a curtain, but let's say like a tide. The practice begins. So close your eyes, be in the practice. So we had the segment, we were together. Now everybody is alone. Okay, everybody is with themselves if you get into the practice. And if you are not, please respect us. So let your face soften, let your jaw like unhook, be loose. Feel the back of your body, like the part you usually forget. Feel it become heavier, like it's sinking into something ancient and like safe. There's nothing to do here, nothing to perform, nothing to heal. Okay? Just space, just breathe, just return. Inhale through your nose, feel the colder air getting in, and exhale like a wave out of your mouth or the nose, whatever feels more comfortable for you. And you can feel the air is warmer, uh, a bit warmer, less colder on the exhale. So again, you can inhale through the nose, you can feel it's colder, and then you can exhale through the mouth or the nose and feel your belly getting in. And today you're not you. You're not Coach Deeyana, you're not Jerome, you're not a role, you're not a timeline. You are the one beneath the name or the names. You are what we call consciousness, awareness in form. Let this truth settle in your bones, in your body, that you are not yourself, you are not an image, you are not a timeline, you are the one beneath these. You are awareness, consciousness in shape, in structure. And this is who we are. And now we are trying and getting connected. We'll invite to get a sensation of movement. So now you can imagine yourself walking. You can walk not forward, not backward, but you are walking inward, downward. And you can feel each step is a falling away of noise. One step for the pressure to perform, another step for the stories that clung, that stuck, one step for the moments you felt small. And you notice as you walk the space changes, it bends, and the air grows thick. Um, Time loosens. You can hear, perhaps, or sense sound distorts, like you are underwater but held. You are in safe zone. But you can feel your sensory and sensitivity systems are perceiving different information. And you feel, perhaps slightly, perhaps deeply, your nervous system softening. This is nothing magic, this is nothing complex, it's softening. Like a fist slowly unclenching, effortlessly uh, softening, resting. And ahead of you is a gate. And you see the gate, and the gate doesn't open. It somehow dissolves, slowly, gently, progressively dissolves. And then you find yourself walking through, not into fantasy, but into felt memory. The memory of being whole, of being one, of being you. And you're here. You're not in a place. This is not a place. This is not an area. This is a state. And so the room, if you want, if you can call it that, it has no walls, only has texture, energetic texture. For some, the air may feel golden or dark or thick or thin or strangely still, whatever is comfortable through what you are experiencing. And beneath your feet, the ground changes depending on what part of you is touching it. So let yourself explore the space, not by looking, not by imagining, but by sensing. What direction pulls you inward? What part of you relaxes as you stand here? Do you feel your head on your shoulders? Do you feel your shoulders tensed or relaxed, softened? Do you feel something in your back? Do you feel something in your arms, your legs? What memory rises in your skin? This is not imagination. This is the architecture of your inner world, inner foundations. And today, you are learning how to walking in it consciously. You can call it a sanctuary. If so, I invite you to sit in this sanctuary. Let your spine align gently, effortlessly. Let this space reshape itself around your breath. No control, no expectation, just return. And now in this state, there's a doorway to your left. Subtle, but unmistakable. Can't miss it. You find yourself moving towards it. No resistance, only invitation, curiousness. And so inside of it, you open it, inside of it is a circular space, still, circle, resonant. It feels charged. Something is emanating from it. And in the center, there's a pool of dark water. Not liquid, not reflective, but more vibratory. vibrations. And you step closer and you stand over it. You stand over this pool of dark water, vibratory water, and perhaps you begin to feel it before you see it. Perhaps you can have tightness in your chest when you were blamed unfairly. Have you ever found yourself blamed unfairly? How did it feel? When you didn't speak what needed to be said, did you freeze? Perhaps you can feel this feeling of freezing. Perhaps after many trials and failures, you found yourself in self-doubt and you collapse into this self-doubt. Perhaps you can feel this, you can feel it in your body. Perhaps the feeling of not enoughness, not yetness, not everness. Let these echoes rise. Let these elements make noise. And just one, a flicker of something else. A time you listened to your gut, to your intuition. Remember one time you listened to your intuition. Remember one time you said no to something and you were proud of it and right for it. Remember a time you stayed present when some part of you wanted to leave or to quit. And these, they are not events. They are what we call residues. And now your system is safe enough to feel them. The goal is to be safe to feel them without being overwhelmed. They are here. Let the echoes rise. So we feel them without being overwhelmed. And this is the work. This is what heals. Not fixing, not understanding, but feeling completely without needing to collapse or escape. So you can stay with it. You can breathe through your gut. And you can say internally, I can stay. I can hold this now. It no longer owns me. And when you're ready, you can find yourself bow to the basin, not out of submission, but out of respect for what it carried so you could survive. And then you stand back up, you leave the room lighter, because now it's not holding you anymore. And you can perhaps feel it. So as you leave, as you exit this this chamber, let's call it the echo room, echo chamber, you find yourself arriving at a turning point, a small threshold, like a bridge, a symbolic bridge. And on one side of this bridge, you find everything you used to carry unconsciously. And on the other side of the bridge, you see your emerging capacity. You see the power you have, yet the other side yells louder than the other ones. And you mark a pause here. And you can let one phrase rise if you feel safe enough. I bring with me only what I choose to keep. The rest can stay behind, completed. So you watch again the one side, the first side to the left, everything you used to carry unconsciously, and the other side, your emerging capacity. And you repeat perhaps, I bring with me only what I choose to keep. the rest can stay behind, completed. And then you find yourself ready to step across slowly, step after one step after another. Let your whole body feel the shift. Perhaps you feel it partially, perhaps you don't, perhaps you feel it in your whole body and being. You emerge into a vastness of information. The thing is, there are no thoughts here, only flows, currents. So you have all these flows, but you find yourself begin to walk slowly. And for the first time, perhaps, you don't feel like you're being observed, not by yourself, not by anything. You are pure sensation, feeling. You can perhaps feel your chest expands without needing to force. Perhaps your spine stands without needing to control. Try moving, shift your weight, stretch, sway. This is what a system feels like when it's not protecting itself. And now you can try something new. You can imagine the energy of quoted safety as a color. You can imagine safety as a colored energy, and you can breathe this into your limbs and let it fill your bloodstream. However you want to imagine it, imagine breathing it in and feeling it inside of you. And you're not becoming someone new, you're becoming someone wider, less like a stone, more like a sky. And here, now, in this state, you can hold. You can hold emotion without drowning. You can hold complexity without freezing. You can hold silence without panic. This is not peace. This is presence. This is presence. So now, if you want, if you feel comfortable, you can place one hand on your chest, the other on your belly, and you can inhale. Take a deep inhale, and you can feel where your breath naturally goes. Does it want to fill the top of your chest? Does it go to the sides of your ribs? Does it go to the lower abdomen? Let it move like a wave through your upper chest, your torso. And silently or verbally affirm, this body remembers. This breath returns me. This calm belongs to me. Now, if you're sitting, you can press your feet into the floor, feel your spine slightly lift. You're like locking and like sealing this state into your posture. It's not just a mood. It's like a muscle, right? You want to remember the structure of it. And so now you can find yourself begin to walk back. Perhaps. But this time you don't walk like the one who entered. You walk like the one who stayed, who saw, who felt, who didn't flinch. And the corridor that we were in the first time perhaps feels shorter now because you are not the same. You let what we call the sanctuary dissolve into the cells, the tissues of your body, into your skin, into your tone of voice, into your being, your stillness. And so whenever you feel ready, bring movement back to your fingers, your jaw, your spine, stretch, take a deep breath, exhale, and whenever it's time, open your eyes and not to look for yourself, but to witness the version of you that no longer needs to chase peace. Because peace now knows where you live. Thank you.
That was absolutely beautiful. I don't know how many people were doing the practice with us, but I know that I went to the state when I was a toddler in the first instance. But by the time that I was walking away from the dark basin, I was an adult again. So it was like a bit of a surreal thing going on with how our brains are pinging back and forth from how they were feeling. You know, I think I truly felt safe before I went to school, before I got exposed to like a whole bunch of social stuff that we had. And then as life started happening, I think we all start carrying a lot of experiences that maybe we don't deal with on time. And then Gregory Brown was saying, was Dee asleep? No, Dee was doing the practice and getting immersed in Jerome's guidance. And I think if you haven't done this before, it's quite a relaxing thing. So it basically sets you up for calmness. I'm a huge proponent of Yoga Nidra. This feels similar. It feels like you are very present while still dealing with certain issues that you may have picked up along the way. So thank you for that, Jerome. That was very calming, and I feel like you can pour me into bowl now. Gonna go hang with the cows in a minute, and then maybe try and wake myself up a little bit. But yeah, that was amazing. Let's see what
Thank you so much.
whether
So
people
happy.
in chat were doing this. A
Yeah,
lot of chats
I've
about
I've
trading.
seen some people were active chatting, so I assumed they were not practicing or not fully.
Yeah,
But for the people who were, um, please share how you liked it, what happened. Perhaps if you have questions, please feel free to share. Some people said lovely comments, so thank you all. Love that. Yeah,
Gregor said,
today's practice
yeah,
was for practice, for present. Sorry,
yeah,
being access. Sorry, go ahead.
yeah. Gregory Brown said, sorry, just tuned in and seen that. I was just asking a question because I asked him to be respectful as well. So yeah, it's whenever you're doing visualization practices, you have to, but at least for me, I like to close my eyes because I feel like I can tune out whatever's going on. Now, if you guys were watching closely, at one point my husband actually opened the the door. He thought I was done because he was like, "Oh, I can't hear anything, so I'm just gonna barge up." And then all 8 of my dogs started coming in, like going, "Okay, hello, hello, what's happening? What's happening?" So there was a bit of chaos. It was pretty sweet. And
I
yeah,
didn't have the camera on, so I didn't. I mean, the screen, so I didn't see.
yeah, yeah. So you can only see this part. They were all around. And you could probably see my husband trying to crawl a little bit, popping up, but he tried his best not to be in the the frame. Paul H is asking, is there a playlist for these Jerome sessions in YouTube? If not, can Topstep create one so we can work our way through the full series? I think they will be doing something. We did speak to them to create the Jerome sessions in a separate playlist. I don't know whether they've done it yet.
That would be lovely. I don't think it's done,
Yeah.
or I've not
Yeah,
noticed.
I
But
can
yeah,
ask. I can ask Danielle to see if we can get somebody to do that for us. I know that the team is going through a bit of an expansion and restructuring, so there's a lot of new people being trained, and maybe we can get one of them to create a playlist. All right. Trader Nichols is asking, Dougie moment. I wonder what they sense from Master or Mama. Probably peace. They actually like it when I'm doing my yoga nidra sessions, my dogs come into the bedroom and they sort of plow all over me and they just lay down. And as soon as I start to get into the mindfulness, they settle. It's amazing how they can just, get access that. Not all of them. I think we have a couple of them that are a little bit more neurotic, but at least six dogs are very, very in tune with the meditative practices and they like it as well.
That's lovely.
Yeah, they're very cute. Danny G is saying, Jerome, any books that you can refer?
Oh boy. On what topic? Which topics? I mean, there's so much. I mean, what would you
Well,
need?
let's talk about today. So maybe resolving previous issues or anything to do with trying to move away from the noise in your head, increase neuroplasticity.
Mm, one of the most
Probably about 100 books.
well vulgarized are from Dr. Joe Dispenza, which as I mentioned a couple times
Hmm.
and people in the chat have mentioned. So uh, it's basically a very well condensed summary of science plus neuro content, vulgarized in a way anybody can understand it without having their brain on fire, you know? So this is a good read, but there's a lot of other reads about like psychology of success, like Napoleon Hill. You can study Dale Carnegie. Um, like neuropsychology books are great. Um, neurodevelopmental books. I don't have the names on top of my head now. I have the authors, but I could share a list. Yeah, why not on Brain? But very relating to what we just did. Yeah, what we did is a sort of summary of concepts, so there's no like book about that. But
Yeah, there's no
yeah,
book. Yeah.
I can share like ratings about neuroplasticity and all these things. Sure.
Awesome. So don't forget that working on your mindset and your brain is not necessarily a read a book and you can do it because it's so individual to every single person. Now, I'm sure that Jerome can probably give you a book on how to do a guided meditation, but that's not really what we're trying to do here, right? So
Yeah.
it's about progressively working on your own life experience and trying to take the positives from it whilst also trying to dampen the negative side of life that inevitably comes with everybody's experiences. Like, I don't think I know the single person who got to any sort of age where they didn't have some sort of issues either with family or with the environment. It's just a part of the life experience, and we need to try and take our own side of things, but then also understand where the negativity is coming from, whilst leaving the positive side and then molding it into a future self that can carry on forward, that can keep moving forward and not being dragged by the previous negativity, whether it's people around you or whether it's, something that happened to you when you were a child. All of it carries a lot of weight. So as long as you can work on your brain, learning that it's not as bad as you think, or at least if it was bad, now it's better. So just focusing on, pushing forward, not dwelling on the past and the negativity. And, remember, like I said, you're not responsible for anybody else's actions unless you have like a minor child or something. But for other people who are adults, whether it's your parents, whether it's your friends, you're not responsible for them. Remember that. That was something very powerful for me because I used to think that, oh, I have to take care of this person, I have to take care of that person. It's like you don't actually have to take care of anyone apart from yourself. I used to think maybe if I have to be there for my parents or, do I have to do. And then my mom actually said to me, my mom is a pretty cool woman. She actually said to me, Dee, I don't need your help. I've got everything I wanted in life. And I was like, oh, I see. And she's like, it's nice that you're here. I appreciate it. But, you know, and then we sort of became more like adult to adult rather than mother and child. But it took a hell of a long time to get to that point because, anytime you have parent issues, it's a twisted relationship, and many people are messed up because of the parents, right? I think, Jerome, you can agree with this.
Yeah.
Not many people are perfect parents, right? They make mistakes, sometimes horrendous mistakes that will scar people and traumatize people for a long time. Um, but you get to a point where you can just understand that that relationship between your parents and yourself is a twisted relationship. They don't necessarily see you as an adult, they see you as their child. And therefore, they treat you that way. They treat you like a helpless child. Even though you're like 50 years old, they'll still be like, you don't know what you're doing. I see that with my husband's family, for example. He's a very accomplished man, but the people who remember him being a small boy that liked to get in trouble, they still see him that way. And I said to him, why do you allow them to talk to you that way? It's like, what's going on? You don't allow it anywhere else, but with your family, they're all like on your case. And he's like, oh, it's different. I was like, it's not different at all. It's like you need to own up. What are your thoughts about that? Carrying over, letting people around you just treat you as if you're a child. How would you deal with that?
Well, it's very situational and differs from the context. But yeah, I will let them believe whatever they want. It doesn't change my reality. But if
Yeah,
it's
it doesn't
family,
change
then
your reality.
yeah, if it's family, then I will either let time prove them wrong or prove me wrong. But yeah, I
Yeah.
don't. I mean, if an opinion, uh, and the problem is not people's opinions; it's about how we process them. I mean, if somebody comes at you and say you're a bad person, you're a loser, you're a scammer, whether you are or not, how do you feel? Do you feel threatened? Do you feel sensitive? Do you feel yelled at, or do you feel like, yeah, crazy person, move on? Like it's
Yeah,
matter
crazy
of
person.
perception. It's like, I mean, it's like trolls on internet,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
in our practice, uh, in daily practice, we deal with a lot of not crazy, but psychology disturbed people or
Mm-hmm.
unbalanced people. So I work implies to deal with people's dissonances. So
Mm.
basically, when I face rejection or people online or in life, like, yeah, okay, then next, like, I'm not saying they're crazy. Don't take me wrong, but
A
I
lot of them are. I can
yeah,
attest to
indeed,
that.
indeed.
So to give
But
you
I
an
don't react
example,
upon the opinion. It's
yeah,
I
to give
try
you
to.
an example, a couple of trolls that I had over the years. There was one that was on my case on Twitter. And at the time, I had, fun fashion colored hair. So I had like red, black, and sort of white bits and stuff. Very, very arty music. I was still a musician. And this guy kept uh, kept being on. Like, I don't know what his problem was with me, but I was trying to reason with the person, and it just got worse and worse. So I was like, this is just odd. And that's where I joked. I said, I'm not going to engage. I'm just going to tell him, hey, dude, take your meds, have a day off. And he comes back with a huge essay. How did you know? I'm going through a manic depressive episode. And, yes, I didn't take my meds, but that's not your problem. And I was like, it was a joke.
That escalated
Like,
quickly.
oops. Yeah. And since then, I just use, and then I had another person who was also a little bit unstable, and I said, get off the juice, man. And it turned out that they had some problem, they were like clinically depressed or something. They're like, oh, do you not know that I tried to, do stupid things to myself? And I was like, thank you for sharing. Maybe go see a therapist. Is internet probably not the best thing to be airing out your full mental issues and everything. It's okay to share in a safe space, but not when you're attacking the person online and then they come back with a good comment and suddenly you go into another explosion. So I just found that So sociologically, very interesting. There are people who have obvious issues, excuse me, but then they default to attacking others that they don't know personally. And I always think there's something so much deeper happening there. And I almost feel for them. I'm like, poor you, you got problems.
Exactly. That's yeah. You're on top of the point. When I feel somebody's like had a bad day or had a bad reason for being mean or reactive, I try and tend to think about like, yeah, something is happening. I don't necessarily need or want to know what, but yeah, something is happening. So yeah, that's empathy. That's not sympathy. That's empathy, actually. And that is a process of meta awareness as well. So that's another
Yeah,
topic. But practicing this is neural rewiring as well,
yeah,
and wiring
absolutely.
instead of
Yeah,
rewiring. So it's a skill. It's a mental
yeah,
skill and a beautiful one.
definitely. All right. So just FYI, I do have a platinum short because we did reach very close to 1,000. In fact, we were there yesterday, over 1,000. So I'm just doing a reactive short from 9959. But we're going to wind down this session now. You will find these slides that Jerome has very kindly shared with us in Topstep Discord. I would like to have the links for you, but at the moment they're on my other computer. But I think by now you can probably know where the Discord on Topstep is. So let's
If
just have a
Bruno can
look.
share the link, I don't know if Bruno.
Yes, that would be nice. I don't know whether Bruno has all of them, but let's share it.
Bruno
And
is
of
the
course,
guy.
we
He
have,
got everything.
he is, yeah, yeah. He's so quick. Yes, so check out the Topstep Discord trading dash psychology. That's where the slides are going to be located. And I will also reach out to someone from the team to see if we can create a little playlist from all of the lovely sessions on neuroscience that we've done here. Jerome, thank you for another amazing stream, another amazing session. Do you have any parting words for us and how we can maybe approach, the markets today? Anything you're working on, let us know before we sign off.
Thank you very much to you and to our audience today for practicing or not practicing. Concerning the market, be careful. We had a very nice back move to 21K, which I personally was expecting, and like many others, because of the bullish news with China, which is wonderful. Yet, this removes a huge layer of uncertainty, but leaves a lot others. So today or some days in this week, we might see sell-offs because of this incertitude. So we still have a strong buying desire, but we'll see. We'll see how the market reacts. If we have a strong pushback up today, that means the market is ready. Yesterday we had a push up with Nvidia as well, so that helped. That helped the move on the Max 7 and Nasdaq. So that's my part. I don't trade other assets, so I don't know a lot about them. And concerning your mind, well, take care of yourself. Try to practice this practice or any others. Journal your mind, your system, inner system, and always take care of the people you love and be grateful for life. Thank you again
Beautiful.
for being here today.
Beautiful. Jerome, Barry the Brain, and myself, we're going to wish you a great day. Thank you for being with us. And we will see you obviously next Wednesday, but you guys will see me for Lunchbox Trading a little bit later today. This has been Euro
Wonderful.
Wednesdays on the Euro Trade. Have a very good day, and we'll see you very, very soon. Take care.
Let's go. Bye bye.